Hey, good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, as well as our other streaming outlets. Tonight is Thursday night, and usually on Thursday nights we go over Crown Rules 2. And for those of us just joining the broadcast, we took last week off to observe the holiday. So to bring everybody up to speed is Julia Dozier is the author of two books, Crown Rules 1 as well as Crown Rules 2, How Black Men Love, where Julia interviewed 10 men, different ages and different stages in their life, and asked them 13 specific questions in reference to love and how black men love. We are on question 6, but we are on episode 7 because in episode 1, we discussed some of Julia's background as more of an introduction to what we were doing is going over each question and then having a discussion about it amongst ourselves as well as everybody that usually joins us within the chat. So to bring everybody up to speed, this is where we're at. And as Julia said in the book prior, and I love to read this part of the book, is I had started out this out wanting to interview men in general, but then I was like, I care about my race right now. We're living in a space and time where black men are being just brutalized. And then when they are not being brutalized by police or not being brutalized by each other, they're being brutalized by women who is supposed to love them. And society has twisted things to the extent that there are women out here who are saying to that they don't need a man. So, my illustrious co-host and contributor, what's
Yes,
up, Jules?
nothing much, Quentin. How are you tonight?
I'm all right. We got an interesting night here ahead of us. How was everything? Your week? How was everything?
Everything is good. Week is moving along very quickly. Can't believe it's Thursday already, but I'm glad Thursday is here. I love this time of the evening to be with you and our audience in the chat. So thank you for this opportunity again, Quentin.
You're welcome. You're welcome. As usual, the pleasure is all mine. So we are up to question 6 in
Yes,
our discussion.
yes,
And that is question 6 is on the screen for anybody that wants to look at the question. It says, which love have you had that you remember and cherish the most and why?
yes, yes,
And I thought that like most of the questions that was presented to the gentleman, one of the things that is unique is, and we have to always beat this in, is that not only men, not only black men, not only black people, we're not a monolith in anything. We're different and we all have different tastes, likes, dislikes. Sometimes people will put us in a category and think that we're all like that. And I think that, one of the things that I never said before about your book is that it shows that everybody has a level of maturity and
yes,
everybody has a different taste, so to say, at a
yes,
certain point in their life. So I
yes.
thought that this question would be true to format, and brothers would have different answers. And off bat, I was shocked that one of the gentlemen, like we discussed, he said his friends, which when you go back into reading more, they were both exes. One was his childhood girlfriend, the one that he said that you always remember, and another one was another friend when he was about 22, 23.
Yes.
So I thought that was interesting.
That he said that they were his friends and actually
Yeah,
they were his ex-lovers.
yeah. They were actually his ex-lovers.
I thought that was interesting too. And I think knowing Lee, he's probably still friends with them, which is
Okay.
why he referenced them as friends. Um, what I like about his response to this question, which love have you had that you remember and cherish the most and why? Kind of goes back to the question that we had covered a few weeks ago, which was who was your first example of love?
Hmm.
So in that question, the gentlemen were able to share with us the first example of love was in their life. In some cases, it was a mother, it was an ex, etc. In this question, what the gentlemen reveal is that there are different stages and phases and experience of love that can contribute to your development as a person.
Or underdevelopment.
Huh?
Or underdevelopment.
Or underdevelopment.
Because you could still be stuck in that love from the past and not be able to move on.
Which is what one of our gentlemen said.
Yeah, because he brought up the exes, his ex-wife. And I said, oh, that's interesting because like we always try to say is sometimes a person may not be able to heal and have that baggage and be like, okay, I messed up, but they might be one of those people that they need somebody to forgive them. And sometimes that ex is never around to forgive them for what they did. So that they keep that baggage of guilt and they go on and throughout life and just damage everything in their route and way.
Damage everything in their path. Or as Coleman said, and he's in our 50-year-old category, he said sometimes what people also tend to do, in addition to carrying the baggage, is that they can compare that first love or that love that wasn't successful to every other relationship that they have. And what he says specifically is you'll have the floor plan to that relationship and you try to bring it to a new person and you wonder why the structure can't stand. And it's because you're dealing with a different person. So you have to allow yourself the freedom to not carry that experience or that model of that last relationship into your new one.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then the gentleman that said father and uncle.
Yes.
I mean, he basically talked about how they molded him to be the man that he is today. And I thought that was interesting. Definitely in today's age, a lot of people don't speak about the male role in their life. Even the brother that said his coach, like his father wasn't there, and the coach basically took the baton and taught him about life, which was interesting.
I highlighted that to read for tonight. Do you mind if I read that now, Quentin?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so but before I do, I think in one of our other episodes, we talked about, the first example of love, most of the men reference women. For this question, a lot of them reference the men in their lives and the importance of those relationships. And this is what Eric had to say to the question. He said, love. When we talk about love, you think love of family or love of a man and a woman, heterosexual, being a man and a woman. But I guess my love that was shown and the love that was given was a love to succeed more than a need to do better. That's what he instilled in us, to do better than what he had done and what others had done before him. That was Coach Fleming. Put that down. His name was Coach Fleming. So for him, the love that he remembers and cherishes the most is that love from his coach, because it helped him to be a better man and to learn how to accomplish his dreams and his goals for himself and how to succeed. And he also required of him and the other 8 gentlemen that he took under his wing that they do better than he did and that they did better than the people before them. So that's very impactful.
Yeah. He kind of, like, as we would say, he passed the baton.
He passed the baton. And, what I love about this question, as I said, most of the men in the book do reference the men in their lives that set the example for them, not just Eric, but also Tom, who talked about his father and his uncle. With respect to his father, he said his father demonstrated integrity and that he was a protector of his family. and that he loved his mother. He showed him how to be a man.
I do have my I always throw a wrench in the game now.
Oh, wrench. Here it comes.
My brother Hermes.
Oh,
You asked him the question,
yes.
and he said, "Relationship love." I've had parts of it, but I haven't had the whole thing. I haven't had the whole thing. Something is always missing. And in essence, I can say I'm single now. So if it is was still love, it would still be love because love doesn't change, people do.
He said, feelings do not change. Oh, this is what he said. I knew that you would see that part, Quentin. He said, there was a time in my life when I didn't know what love was and I mishandled it because I didn't believe in it and I didn't understand it. He said, love is a choice, not a feeling. Choices don't change, feelings do.
Mm, mm. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting because, like I said, that um, transparency is very interesting when you're interviewing somebody, and he was very transparent. Like I never dealt with that. He probably never experienced where he could say he remembers love, and he realized that because he never experienced, that was the reason why he was single. So that's a very profound statement. Most people can't admit why they're single. Most people be like, "Oh, because I choose to. Oh, it's my choice." Or what we see every day. Oh, because there's no good men out here, or it's no good women out here.
Which is not true.
You blame the whole if you're heterosexual, like you said, you blame the whole opposite sex on why you single. Oh,
I think there's 7.1 billion people in the world.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm single because let's say half of them are the opposite sex. You're single because 3.7 billion are no good. Come on.
It's just very interesting. I mean, like I say, that some people just will always make an excuse for their why instead of being self-reflective. And I really liked his response. That's why I told you it was a wrench in the game. Because I seen it and I said, "Oh, she don't know that I've seen that," because I didn't mention that to you behind the scenes. I said, "Oh, you know, oh, let's bring that up a little later." So Nicole said, "Hold up, our illustrious Nicole."
Hi, Nicole.
She said some people have to look at themselves. Hey, but you know what? In reference to what Nicole said, I believe all of us have to.
All of us.
I mean, I think that some people just refuse to, and that's when oh, it's them. You're single because you can't blame nobody else because you're single. You choose to be single because you could then go in an unhealthy relationship if you choose to. You choose to be single because that's what you choose to do. Just not. It ain't no men out here. It ain't no good men out here. It just happens.
Exact. I have been listening to Pebbles and Babyface all week long. I don't know if you remember the song, but it's Love Makes Things Happen. And it's so relative to the question that we're covering tonight, because as you're reading the gentleman's answers in the book, the love that they remember and cherish created something in their lives, allowed them to create something in their lives. And some of the words of the song is, you never know who you're gonna love. You never know when it's gonna take over you. It makes things happen. You could not be looking for it, and here it comes. And so I think some people experiences have been challenging and have been difficult. And because they have been, they've kind of closed themselves off to the opportunity. But in closing themselves off to love, they're also closing themselves off to what they might want to experience in their life.
Well, you know, one of the great things, Julia, that you have is that you're good for segues, and you're a very talented um, young lady. One of the things outside of writing books is that you have been part of the poetry corner as well.
Yeah, shout out to all the poets and poetesses.
So when you talk about love, and you had did a poem on love before, so I asked you to do it again. I told you I was gonna play it because it goes good with this episode and last week's episode.
You got that sun shining in the noonday, waves crashing upon the shore type love. You got that food cooking all day since morning, being on the plate at 6 p.m. in the evening type love. You got that fresh kicks laced just right, hoodie just so, smooth face, new car smell type love. You got that old soul, futuristic rhythm and blues, funkadelic, jazzy, boom pap, boom pap, boom pap type love. You got that taste like chocolate, liquid gold like honey. You be making me full but still keeping me hungry with all that good type love. You got that spiritual cleansing type love. You be like white candles and sage, lavender and incense smelling like the temples of India type love. You got that soothing type love. You be like massages all over my body. You just be rubbing my scalp and oiling my strands and pulling my hair type love. You got that turn down the lights and arch it just so. I mean, take it, just take it type love. And we be like co-star, director and producer in this bitch type love. You got that making me want to explore and discover how to be your best friend, your only lover, and our child's mother type love. You got that creators of our universe shooting comets across the sun, kissing upon the moon type love. You be like speaking my mind and touching every beat of my heart type love. It be like you are me and I am you, cannot tear us apart type love. We be like past, present, and future, and infinite type love.
Forget Babyface and Pebbles.
My mom is watching tonight.
Look, I seen your facial expression when you had cussed in the poem.
My mom and I think my neighbor, Miss Cypress, is watching. I'd like to dedicate this show to Miss Cypress. She was married for, I think, about 40 years to the love of her life, and he recently passed away in October. So wishing you strength and peace and comfort, Miss Cypress.
Great. So in that poem, because we your poem, I believe, coincides with 2 weeks ago show and this week's show.
Yes.
What made you come up with this poem? We never got when you did it before. We didn't really talk about. We was just doing a poetry show, and it was really nice. Everybody, like I said, the poets, everybody does such a great job.
Yes, they
And
do.
sometimes you be like, "Oh, I like that," and then somebody else come, you be like, "Oh, I like that," and so you get, unless you go back and watch the shows, you sometimes forget what a person says specifically. So, what made you write that type of poem and express that type of love or that type of intimacy?
I experienced up to this point in my life what I think was the most memorable and cherished love so far. And it was a love that allowed me to understand who I was as a person and tap in to all of the things that I really enjoy. The waves crashing upon the shore, preparing a meal for the person that I love.
Yeah, you have to excuse me in the chat. Julia does not like talking about herself, so I kind of put her in an awkward position right now. So I truly apologize. So just bear with me and
Trying
especially
my
bear with
best.
her because she's trying because she don't like to talk about herself like this, and it puts
No,
her in a bad spot. So I apologize, Julia, for
that's
really asking you
okay.
this question.
But I appreciate the opportunity to express it, because I think, like similar to the gentleman in the book, when you're able to identify the love that you remember and cherish, it allows you, I think, in some way to create more of that. It helps you to identify who you are, what you need, what you love. And I think it helped me to tap into my spirituality. It helped me to be a better person. It was the first time that I was actually deliberate about the choices that I was making in terms of that relationship. Um, Unconditional love, being forgiving. And I'm not necessarily a forgiving person, but it taught me how to be forgiving. Um, and so it made me a better person. And I just wanted to express that in rhyme.
Okay, and I didn't ask you. I don't think you were on the poetry show that night, and I don't think I asked you during that show. The couple days. Does life imitate art or art imitate life? Because you've shown your artistic value in the poem as well as in the book.
I
So what do
think
you
that
think?
I think that it's I think that it's both. I think that there is a balance and equality to life and art. I think that art inspires us to live,
Mm,
and I think that our life inspires us to create. So I think it's both.
interesting. Interesting. I just ask people that. It's
It's
something
a
I thought
beautiful
about.
question.
Something I thought about, and I just always ask people the question. I don't just like to hear the responses.
So, but what's your answer to that question, Quentin?
Um, I believe life imitates art.
Why?
I believe that we all have artistic value of what we think life should be, and we try to play it out every day.
Hmm. Now that's deep.
I
Can you
mean,
say that
nobody, no,
again? Can you say that again, Quentin?
I believe that life imitates art, and that we try to play it out every day, the way we live. I don't believe that nobody. You know how a person wakes up, and you woke up, you didn't sleep well, kind of cranky, so you woke up and you feel like your whole day was a bad day, based off of how you woke up. You didn't say I'm gonna have a bad day. I believe that when you get up, you try to be artistic in your day.
In your day.
You try to have a good day. You try to, as they say, let me paint a picture. You try to have a beautiful canvas
Hmm.
and just go about, serene. I'm going to work. I'm gonna get the best 8 hours possible. I'm gonna do this, do that. But then the obstacles come. Your boss come ask you, your supervisor. I don't want to say boss. Your supervisor comes and says, "Well, I need you to stay an extra hour." Your coworker's not performing up to him or her capabilities. So now your picture that you've painted begins to take different forms. Now, now you might get a phone call from your child or your significant other. So now that beautiful picture that you thought in your head that you were painting becomes something different. And then at the end of the day, most people could say, you know what, today was a good day, in spite of. those other things, and vice versa.
We gotta be open. I think that's what it comes down to. We have to be open. I think I've learned, especially during these last few months, being a person who used to be very structured. Like I knew I would plan my day and I would make sure that I, accomplished as much as I had planned for the day. And I would get frustrated if, something would go wrong. But I think during these last few months, what I've learned is how to be flexible and how to be open. Just like love and loving relationships, when you shut down, yes, the philosopher, when you shut down due to frustration, you don't allow yourself to not only experience the challenge, but to also experience the achievement or the redirection from the challenge. Sometimes it's important to allow ourselves to be redirected.
It's like the meme that people always say, I'm unbothered. Usually, if you have to put that out there, it's usually some things that do bother you.
Right.
I know speaking from my personal experience, and this ties with the book and understanding where you're at with your feelings and how you feel about situations, is I know that I could be very detached from things, and a person will be like, I don't care. You act like you don't care. That's just me though. That's a defense mechanism that I put up personally. Because for me, I'm a focus driven person. I don't see, like some people got peripheral vision, and no. I have straight tunnel vision when I see something. Well, I'm very goal oriented. So like,
yes.
In order to get me off that direction to look somewhere else, it'll mess up that canvas that I'm trying to paint. I mean, and it causes a lot of problems.
Are you aiming to be a bit more flexible, or are you okay with where you are?
Well, what's interesting is I believe at a certain point in my life, flexibility is what got me in a lot of trouble. So when I got, as most people would say, rigid and tunnel vision, it allowed me to focus on self. It allowed me to focus on me, like, hold up. Let me focus down and grip down on me. And now let's stay focused on what I need to do. And then, because if I didn't do that, I couldn't, as they say, I couldn't love other people in other areas and understand that, like, like how if you're not focused on loving yourself, as people would say, how you gonna love somebody else?
Tying it back to the responses from the gentleman in the book,
how
all of them in some way or another talked about how the love that they remembered and cherished helped them. That's from Miss Cypress. Hi, Miss Cypress. What did she say? I can't, when I wear my glasses, but
she said the love you didn't see coming. The quicksand love you sank into deeply, the love that understands forever, no limits. Hi, Julia. Thanks for inviting me. It was 50 years of 2 hearts. 50 years of 2 hearts beating as one. Wow. Profound. And so true. Amazing.
Beautiful.
Wow. 50 years.
50 years. And if someone were to ask me,
and she's a first. Miss Cypress is a first.
Yes, she is.
She's she's the first person that has ever had a show dedicated to her. So since we've been starting the platform, so Miss Cypress, you're our first. We honor you, and as the young people say, we salute you. And we hope that you join us and experience and share some of your experience with the show. Because 50 years is a long time to be with someone, and that's something that most of us wish that we could be like that. So, like I said, please share your experiences with us. Share them with Julia. If you could link up with Julia, you're her neighbor, and tell us some of them war stories. You know, you know, tell us how
I
you used. Tell them how y'all used to, as they say, argue just to let y'all get each other's attention.
Quentin, I have to tell you, I was blessed to have an outing with Mr. Cypress and Mrs. Cypress as part of work in the community. And we had to, walk a park and make plans for what would be included in the park. And just being with the two of them was a love that I'll remember and cherish. The way that they almost, when they spoke to each other, it was almost like a dance. It was
so,
so
that,
beautiful.
so Miss Cypress, as Julia is describing this outing, you guys were living my statement. You guys were living art.
Yes, yes, yes,
They were
yes,
paint.
yes.
They were painting the picture.
They
They
painted they painted a picture for me.
They were creating music.
Oh, Quentin, they painted a picture for me. They gave me something to aspire to. They gave me something to aspire to. The love that you do not see coming. And that's why it's so important. Like you were talking before about, people being closed off. It's like, what do you want to experience in life? And, everybody's kind of like focused on getting the bag. Like you can get the bag, but at the end of the day, like once you get the bag, what are you going to do with it? It's the memories that you're able to create with someone that
Yeah, it's like everything nowadays is so fast paced, and nobody takes time to slow down.
slow
Like
down,
like
enjoy.
just turn off all the devices in the house. I mean, even turn your light off and just sit in the dark and just listen to the stillness of your house.
Be present. Be present. Be
Yeah,
present.
it's interesting. Miss
It was
Cypress,
beautiful.
Miss Cypress has came and knocked the door down a day up in less in Crown Rules.
Yeah, she did. And she's like that. She's phenomenal. And so was he. And so was he. Um, and I know that at this time, she's in a period of mourning, you know, but she has 50 years of memories, to hold on to.
Wow, it's a lot. That's a lot. So, was there anything else that one other thing that caught my attention? I don't know if it caught your attention. Was the last gentleman? He said that he said his mother and his ex-wife. He said his mother and his ex-wife. I thought that was interesting because a lot of times, um, like I said, those exes, man. Some people be like, yo, I don't want to talk about my ex. That was a bad experience. It was a bad part of my life. I don't know what I was thinking about. So I was amazed that he said, like I always say about these brothers, they were very transparent with you, Julia. I don't know, you must have broke a wrist or something, like held a gun over your head, because you know how a lot of the stereotypes the women say, oh, men don't tell us the truth. They wasn't expressing their feelings. These guys
But
they
you
was
have
being
to
honest.
you have to create the space for that. And like I said, you have to be open. I think the gentlemen were prepared to be open. And like I also say in the beginning of the book, we don't hear enough from men. And a lot of time it's not that you all don't have these feelings or these things to express. A lot of times it's that we don't ask, right? And so asking the question is important.
It's funny you said that, because one of the young ladies, she put in the group a scenario about it was an article out of Huffington Post about men need to exercise the muscle of telling another man they love him. And my response was, I put the face up, the funny emoji, because I think that a lot of times women don't ask the question, do men say this to each other? Because I think that it's a stereotype that's just been put on men, that men aren't emotional, or men don't be, tell their fellow men, like, I love you. And I think that men, we have an unspoken language. Men have the, if I walk past you and I look you eye to eye, we do the head nod, we do the dap, we do peace. It's really an unspoken language.
Yes.
And I think that even when we're dealing with each other as friends, encounter in the circles like the barbershop, it's a special place for a man. Sporting events, if y'all like the same sports. So I think that men, and I know that men, definitely the men that I know, and definitely the friends that I have, we do tell each other we love each other. Like, I love you, bro. I appreciate you, man. You're always there for me when I need you. I think that that's just so sacred to men's bond, instead of women. Y'all be, oh, that's my sisterhood and this, that, and third, girl magic and stuff like that. I just think that men are just a little bit more.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Charm, who's one of the gentlemen in the book, I had the opportunity to be around him a lot. And one of the things that I really respect and appreciate about him is that he never missed an opportunity to acknowledge another brother. And not just say, good job. Like, he would be specific and go into detail and just show that appreciation. He was comfortable in his masculinity, and he was comfortable with giving other men praise, so much so that he didn't even do it in private. I was in his presence a lot of the times when I heard him doing that. Yeah. The other thing is, down here where I live at, there are a lot of auto mechanic shops, and you'll see like groups of 10, 15 brothers just hanging out. And I know not all of them are there for, like, not all of y'all are getting your cars fixed, but it's a space, for them to connect and to have their conversation. So I think they're doing that. I think the greater opportunity is for us as women to have these conversations.
Yeah, and like you said, to ask. Because the space, even when you said you afforded the guys for the book the space to answer that, you made them feel comfortable with you enough to be able to be transparent, is that it's the same space as that mechanic shop. Like, it's really being able to, for lack of better words, I could speak a little bit more freely around the fellas. Like, you may got a guy who quote unquote cuss like a sailor, but he probably was raised with some respect, where he will never use foul language around a woman. So exactly. If a woman come around now, he like, oh, I can't even talk like I used to. Like, yo, why you got your wife coming, man? Like, this is our spot.
This is our time.
Like, right. Come on, man. Like, yo, why she keep calling you? I can't even finish telling you my war story.
Exactly.
So it's a very interesting dynamic. And I mean, like I always tell you, Julia, you did a fantastic job on this book, and I believe that more people need to understand. Your book is actually a template to give a woman a little bit more understanding of her man. She may know him, but if she just read the book, she'd be like, like, why he act all weird sometime? And so to give it'll give to, because all of those 10 gentlemen, like we discussed, are 10 different individuals at 10 different places in their life. And mom said the barbershop. Yeah, the barbershop is a very sacred place. But and it's funny that she said the barbershop, but now most barbershops got a woman in there.
I remember when I was younger and I was living in New York and I was dating this young man, and we were like always together, and he would want me to go with him to the barbershop. It's like, no, I'm not going in there. I'm not doing that. That's your time. But thank you so much, Quentin, for what you said about the book. And I think it's helpful for women to be open to understanding just different aspects of the man that they're in relationship with, or the man that they're coming into relationship with. But I also think that it's good for men to see the value of women. And if I could, I want to read this one piece from Lee on page 92. He said, the question was, which love have you had that you remember and cherish the most, and why? He said, I would say my friends Tanya and Donna. Donna and I dated when I was 14, 15 years old. So that's a different type of love. I dated Tanya when I was already 22, 23 maybe. It was a different type of love. With Donna, it was more of a teenage type of thing. That was always a joy. With Tanya, it was a little deeper because she gave me her car to do my driving test. She taught me about economics, on how to handle money. So there were a lot of things that I learned from her. And she also, that I learned from her. She was a more complex person than I thought she was, which I didn't realize until after we were already separated. She had a beautiful heart, a very giving heart. She would say something that would make you think on it. When I look back at my achievement musically, I think about her. In the book, it says, Tanya was the person who encouraged Lee to assist a recording artist with creating a CD that they were going to use as a demo and present to a record label so that they could sign a deal. Lee was resistant to help that artist because he was working on a different project that he was getting paid for at the time. Tanya was there when the artist spoke to Lee about needing the CD and knew that Lee had the capacity to do it. Lee declined to assist. Tanya told him, a candle loses nothing to light another. Lee had a change of mind and heart and created the CD for the artist. The artist was Tupac. Lee contributed to the development of his first album and was later given 2 gold albums by Tupac for his assistance. Mm. Mm. Women see and think and feel differently than men. And if you're connected to the right woman, she will help you to experience what you want to experience in your life. There's value in relationships and value in love. And even if it's not an intimate relationship, it's important for us to have these valuable relationships with men and women, younger than us, our same age, older than us, because there's so much more for us to experience than what we plan.
And that speaks on something that I know that is dear to both of us. And you was going to mention it about mentorship.
Yes. Mentoring is critically important. Ms. Sharon was talking about that last night in the trenches. Teachers in the trenches, how mentoring is so critically important. It's important for last night she was talking, or the conversation was about how an understanding of social behavior, or even how to achieve your goals or to present yourself or to get what you want starts in the home. But sometimes it's not always available in the home. But just because it's not available in the home doesn't mean that we don't have access to it. We can learn, enjoy, and experience what we need to for ourselves in our relationships with other people that can show us the way. And it doesn't matter how old we are. I think you yourself said in one of our prior shows that you sought out a mentor for yourself as well.
I got three. I got three. I have three mentors. Two are older women actually, and one is an older gentleman. Which is interesting for what I'm trying to do. They've been very supportive. They know they see everything. They kind of see everything that I'm doing, and they very I just keep up the good work. I like what you're doing. Even when situations, as far as in the group or we're doing a show, and the show may seem a little, as we would say, gets a little carried away.
Yes.
I'll get a phone call or I'll get a text like it's good, because as them being of a certain age, one thing that I'm learning is we are younger than them, but we don't have the conversation like they had. We don't have the dialogue. We don't have the understanding. Like Mom has said, she said and this is important. Like the inner sanctum, a woman walks in and the men stop talking. Like nowadays, unfortunately, and I hope to do a show about this very soon, is most people will think when a woman comes in a barbershop and the men stop talking that this is some type of sexist thing, or this is some type of a masculine toxicity, which whatever word they use, they toxic masculinity, that crazy phrase they done came up with.
Ridiculous.
Which it's ridiculous, because men is masculine by nature, whether their sexual preferences, whatever. A man is masculine by nature. So what I say that to say that nowadays, with all this social stuff and progressive stuff going on, and everybody turning you in different directions, to have some type of womanhood or some type of manhood and have that decorum that keeps that balance there is kind of losing its way.
And we all we got.
Yeah. So I say that to say, like, yo, if female want to go to the barbershop with her mate, and it's not that you are the problem. It's that men are not going to feel as comfortable talking their business around you. Not just your man, but other men. And it has nothing to do with it. I mean, if a guy is sitting there while 2-3 women is gossiping, I'm gonna be honest, looking at you like, yo, what's up with this dude? Like,
And
put your
Quentin,
tail between your legs and get up out of here.
I have to tell you, I so appreciate yourself and Dwayne and the other gentlemen who do the football preview week on Sunday mornings at 9. You allow me to put my little 2 cents in, and you don't kick me out.
No, but see that is, I mean, that's a little different in that perspective. Like, those are social settings.
Yes.
I'm not saying that the barbershop is not a social settings, but like if I called you and I'll be like, yo, I'm going to the hair salon with my lady, or I'm going to the hair salon, you're gonna be looking at me like, she gonna be there 2-3 hours. Like, why you coming here? I got to do wash, rinse, and curl and do all this stuff, and
I have to drink my coffee and have my conversation with the ladies and talk about what's hot. Like, no.
Exactly. Like, ain't no dude should be sitting there. You said, let a dude be sitting there, and I need to preference it. It's not a part of masculinity for a male to be sitting at a hair salon while a bunch of women getting their hair done. It's kind of, and I'm not putting nobody in a box, and I'm not being sexist. It's just not cool for those women to be talking about women issues around him, regardless of his preference.
No disrespect.
They're not gonna feel comfortable.
No disrespect to anyone, but shout out to Washington Heights in New York City, because I used to faithfully go to my hairdresser Maria there, and there was a lady that used to come with her significant other when she was getting her hair done, and everybody was quiet while he was there, and when he left, everybody would clown. Like, it's not just space.
Exactly.
It's not just space.
and I think that like I told you when I read the part in the book before of when you decided to write the book, and I read it earlier, how the book, you started out a project and then it takes on a life of its own. We have to try to stay relevant, as they say, because the times and life is moving so fast that we need to reset. We need to slow it down. We can't stop the world, but we need to slow everything down. Like, hold up, what are we doing? Like, it's a balance. Life has a balance, and I believe, in my personal belief, that now we're getting it. You can feel it.
It's coming.
That is tilted. We got to bring it back. Got to bring it back. It's a yin and a yang. Even if you're into law, this is why Mother Justice, she's blindfolded. She's supposed to be blind. She's blindfolded because she's not supposed to see color or gender. Well, we know how that goes in this country. But she has those scales, and those scales are supposed to be balanced. And that's how life is supposed to be balanced. You ain't supposed to be too happy all the time, but you definitely ain't supposed to be too sad, right?
No.
So, Jules, we're gonna what's next week? What's next week's?
Can we get the question for you for next week? Question next week is question number 7, and I want to say before I read it, Quentin, if I might, to anyone who hasn't yet purchased the book, but thank you to all who have, that the way that the book is organized is that the number of the question appears in each chapter for each gentleman. So if you wanted to, you could read the chapters straight through, or you could do a comparison of the answers, because it's easily marked for you can see the question and the answer. But for next week, the question: how do you know when it's time to commit to a woman?
Interesting question.
Answers.
And those in the chat, make sure that if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share it. If you're on Facebook, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure with a reaction button. Make sure you share it. Make sure you share the content. Tell people about the show, because really, even though it's a show, we're going over Julia's book question by question. So it takes time, and we're not running through the book, so to say. We're really trying to have a couple other gentlemen on the show, so that whoever decides to come on the show, it will turn that episode into basically a question and answer, and we'll be able to I will be able to ask that gentleman, and you guys will be able to ask that gentleman some questions outside of the book, and just get their transparency, get their facial expressions, get to see how they like to express themselves, because this is important to understand how Black men love.
Yeah.
We thank you guys for joining the show. We're going to end the show with Julia's poem once again, and that's how we're going to end the show. So, you said sorry in advance. So we appreciate you guys for joining us. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and hope to see you guys next week. But enjoy Julia's poem once again.
You got that sun shining in the noonday, waves crashing upon the shore type love. You got that food cooking all day since morning, being on the plate at 6 p.m. in the evening type love. You got that fresh kicks laced just right, hoodie just so, smooth faced, new car smell type love. You got that old soul, futuristic rhythm and blues, funkadelic, jazzy, boom, pap, type love. You got that taste like chocolate, liquid gold like honey. You be making me full, but still keeping me hungry with all that good type love. You got that spiritual cleansing type love. You be like white candles and sage, lavender and incense, smelling like the temples of India type love. You got that soothing type love. You be like massages all over my body. You just be rubbing my scalp and oiling my strands and pulling my hair type love. You got that turn down the lights and arch it just so. I mean, take it type love. And we be like co-star, director, and producer in this bitch type love. You got that making me want to explore and discover how to be your best friend, your only lover, and our child's mother type love. You got that creators of our universe shooting comets across the sun, kissing upon the moon type love. You be like speaking my mind and touching every beat of my heart type love. It be like you are me and I am you, cannot tear us apart type love. We be like past, present, and future, and infinite type love.